This is Brett, and this is my first time interviewing anybody. So, the first question is, how do you like it here in Indonesia?
Well, I love it here, but a little hot for my taste, but that's just because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so just have to get acclimated.
And how about the food?
I love the food other than spicy.
How about, how are you feeling after accepting Islam after 2 months in your journey?
Well, not a whole lot has changed, because I'm still trying to learn a lot. So my focus is more than on learning and memorizing to get the steps down. But once I get there, I can start searching for the meaning in it all. That way I know what it is as I'm learning, and then I can find out what the meaning is, so that way I can take the meaning out of it.
Is it specifically in what part of learning? Specifically in what parts of learning? Or specifically the prayer, specifically the daily routine that you're learning?
A lot of the prayers, yeah.
So you're pretty much performing 5 prayers a day?
No, not all the time.
You should.
Yeah, but...
Okay. But which part are you, have you gotten to so far? I mean, you understand all 5 prayers and what you have to do?
Yeah, throughout the day, what times they are roughly in the day, and then, I mean, being here outside of America, it really helps because there's always prayer calls going on. So you know what time it is for prayer, as long as you're not out traveling around and doing other things.
Of course, Indonesia is an exotic place.
Yeah.
How is your support system like in the learning process?
Well, I've got, thanks to the internet, I've got an open book for everything as far as being able to search for any questions I might have, being able to find literature or anything like that.
I mean, what about in the immediate, besides that, I mean, how is the community and family supporting you here?
Well, my wife helps me out a lot, and then her brother takes me over to the mosque and walks me over there with me and everything. The neighbors have helped once or twice.
Have you gone by yourself?
Not yet. Not entirely, just me walking over there alone on my own.
But it's safe to walk?
Yes.
So, how far have you gotten into your prayers? Like, you know the basics, you're still working on the basics,
yeah.
And so how is the memorization coming out?
Well, so far I've got through doing wudu like you taught me, and then go into the mosque, go down and pray. Usually when I'm sitting there and I'm a little bit confused because I still don't know what step they're at when I walk in.
When they're already in prayer, you mean?
When they are in, I'm assuming they're sunnah when I show up, okay. And then I get there and we do fard. That's what I'm figuring as I've learned. Okay. So, but then sometimes it's confusing to me because it's like, no, you want 1 rak'at when I believe it was supposed to be 2. So that was confusing me, but since I'm not sure.
Sunnah. You're talking about sunnah?
No.
In the prayer.
Yeah,
really?
And then, so it's just, that's stuff I'm still trying to learn and try to piece together. Like maybe I was late and I didn't know it.
Okay. So when you feel like you're late, are they in a line or they're spread out in different places in the masjid?
No. Every time we turn around and we're spread out, and then we go forward and all line up correctly before we start.
Okay. So then,
and then it was like
follow through.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you think it's one short, that means you are daydreaming and you're doing it right, probably.
That's what I'm assuming.
You'll be alright. We all go through daydreaming. So how the memorization part is it easy for you, or is it?
It depends on how much time I spend on it. As far as, because there's so much to learn and memorize, it has to take a lot of commitment just to try and focus on the one thing you're trying to memorize, and then piece it little by little.
We all go through that.
Yeah.
Even myself, it takes me a while to memorize. And what have you memorized?
So far, Al-Ikhlas and Al-Fatiha.
Al-Fatiha?
Yeah.
Would you like to let us hear Surah Fatiha?
Yeah, I don't know the song for
That's
it.
That's okay, do it your way.
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
That's pretty good for a new word. Great, that's awesome. There's some clarity that needs to be done, but alhamdulillah, Masya Allah, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
Cool. And how about back home? Do you get the support from your parents and family back home now that you have accepted Islam?
They have shown nothing but support. I haven't had any issues at all from them. Like a lot of people fear when they go through and change over to something new, especially between America and the stress with Islam. So,
do they have any questions?
There's been little things like, oh, you can't eat pork anymore, or something like that. So it's like, okay.
Can you explain to them why?
I don't really necessarily understand why completely, but I know that like tapeworms were a big thing back then, and uncooked pork correctly. Yes, exactly. So
basically, it's a commandment from Allah.
Yeah. So to keep yourself healthy.
Because it's like basically, yeah, there are animals on the world and on the planet, but you can touch everything but this. It seems like the apple or the fruit of the tree and
yeah.
So you can have everything, but this is my rule. So yes. If you were to talk to your parents, do you explain any more? I mean, tell them about Islam so that maybe, I don't know, you have the intention to accept Islam, or you just have normal family conversations?
We just have normal family conversations. They're not particularly religious either, just like I really wasn't when I came over here. But I've been learning and studying and trying to just focus on accepting Allah in my life.
Do you have any difficulties while living in Indonesia? And do you know how to separate the difference between the culture and the religion, or that's still all part of the learning process?
It's definitely part of the learning process. So there's steps that I find different versus when I'm doing my reading and of different books and stuff of how to go through and do my filah versus what I experience when I'm actually in the mosque. But it's not terribly different. It's just small things are different that I notice.
Do you enjoy praying at home or enjoy praying at the mosque?
I actually do enjoy going to the mosque because it hides my mistakes. But not from Allah.
And when you go to the mosque, is it a mosque or a masala? Masjid or masala di sini? Ini masjid atau masala yang dekat? Masjid. Okay, so when you go to the masjid, do they give salams to you and say, hey, Brett, or do they already know you, or it's still like?
Just kind of walk in with the crowd.
Okay.
There's a couple of people that recognize me and they know me.
You're hard to recognize.
I know, I don't stand out at all here. I blend in like nothing.
Alhamdulillah.
But Mr. Yayak across the road, he was the one asking, when we were at my wedding, he was the one with the microphone asking questions. He knows some English and he's helped me.
So you know that coming up in a couple of days is part of the other ibadah, or pillars of Islam, which is Ramadan. Are you ready?
I have to be. It's here. We haven't started going through and changing our routine yet, but hopefully that won't be so difficult to do.
Okay.
I know last Ramadan, even though I was in America and everything, I was still trying to do my fasting and stuff while I was there. So I was actually able to do quite a bit, probably like 80 or 90% of the time.
Oh my God, good. So do you have any questions about Ramadan and what you can or should or shouldn't do?
Not yet, but I haven't gotten to that point yet where I have the questions. I haven't seen it personally because just seeing it remotely from being in America was completely different than what it's going to be like seeing it here in person.
Are you ready to do some Tarawih prayers?
I'm not sure what that is specifically.
Oh, so in Ramadan, the part of the rituals, it's not obligatory, it's sunnah, where you, after Isha, they do either the 8 plus 3 or the 20 plus 3 raka'ats as extra prayers during the month of Ramadan, which is, it also falls under the night prayers, or the Qiyam al-Layl, which is a night prayer. It's voluntary, it's optional, and a lot of people the first 10 days are like, yeah, let's do it, and then it slowly dies off. And then they wait for the 27th day of Ramadan, and they all come back for that one day. So because of this, it's called the Night of Power, and there's a surah towards the end in the 30th, the last juz, that talks about the Night of Power, where it's worth 80 years worth of prayers if you catch it. Right? So then everybody comes back on the 27th. But it's not guaranteed it's the 27th. It could be the last 10 nights. Mostly the odd nights, specifically to the 27th, but it could be any of those 10 nights. So after Isha prayer, within 5 or 10 minutes, you do your sunnah. Then you're going to do, it depends on which masjid, school of principle, or